What's good, YouTube? It's your boy Joey, and I'm back. And we will be reacting to a video called 5 NBA players will have been to jail. You won't believe why. And they put J.R. Smith in the thumbnail. I already know he did some dumbass shit, man. Shout out J.R., man. He tried his best to play
This
good.
video is brought to you by CatBeast.com. Design your own custom snapbacks and hats.
Throughout NBA history, there have been many players who have served prison sentences after committing a crime. From small charges such as drug possession to large offenses including kidnapping, murder, and rape, these NBA players have committed crimes that many people have not heard about. Although most of these players are retired and played during the 1980s and 1990s, some still play in the league even today using help from their expensive lawyers to get rid of most of these charges. Before I begin, I just want to say that some of these crimes are fairly disturbing, so if you have a weak stomach
hold on. It's crimes in here? It's crimes in here? I already know who committed a crime. Matt Barnes, he probably killed the mouse with his hard, you know what I'm saying? He hard, bro, you know what I'm saying? He probably killed the fish, you know what I'm saying? Real hard body shit, you know what I'm saying?
Bothered easily, you might want to turn this off. Now with all that being said, let's take a look at 5 NBA players who have been to prison before. Welcome to NBA Insider. Although many people know J.R. Smith as a Cleveland Cavaliers small forward, many people don't know about his past. J.R. Smith has a history of car accidents and reckless driving. On June 9th, 2007, while J.R. Smith was hurrying home to his brother's graduation barbecue, he was driving a black SUV 67 miles per hour in an area where the speed limit was 35. Because of this, he lost control of the car and drove through a stop sign and collided with another car. Both Smith and his friend, 21-year-old Andre Bell, were ejected from the vehicle after impact. Andre Bell later died from his injuries after suffering massive head wounds. He was thrown violently around the vehicle's interior and suffered multiple slashes as well as a fractured skull after hitting the pavement head first. Smith, on the other hand, was thrown around impact. Andre Bell later died from his injuries after suffering massive head wounds. He was thrown violently around the vehicle's interior and suffered multiple slashes as well as a fractured skull after hitting the pavement head first. Smith, on the other hand, was thrown around the open sunroof before landing on the road. He only suffered a few scratches and an injury to his left shoulder. Another passenger in the SUV and a woman driving the other car were injured but recovered. Later on, a judge sentenced 23-year-old J.R. Smith to 90 days in jail for causing the car accident that killed his friend. However, the judge later suspended 60 days of the sentence if Smith was willing to perform 500 hours of community service by visiting sick children at hospitals. Of course, Smith would take the deal and ended up only serving 1/3 of his original sentence. Although a grand jury declined to indict Smith and his sentence had been reduced to just 30 days, he still faced 5 motor vehicle violations, a $506 fine, and pleaded guilty to reckless driving. In the
Damn, Smith. You ugly. But this man had to serve 90 days. And then they cut it down to like 500 hours of Smithy Bush. And
he would serve his time, serve his community service, and have his license suspended for 2 years. Corey Blount was a skilled power forward / center at the University of Cincinnati and played his first NBA season after being selected as a first-round draft pick by the Chicago Bulls in 1993. Throughout his 11-year NBA career, he also played for the Los Angeles Lakers, Cleveland Cavaliers, Phoenix Suns, and much more. As ironic as this may sound, Corey Blount was sentenced to prison on December 4th, 2008 after being caught with 20
Corey Blunt got caught smoking that blunt. Looking at him. She got plenty of the weed.
9 pounds of marijuana. The 40-year-old was arrested by sheriff deputies after they found 11 pounds of marijuana that someone sent to him. Upon further investigation, police said they found another 18 pounds of marijuana, a 1996 Mercedes-Benz, a 2004 Cadillac Escalade, a 2000 Chevrolet Suburban, 3 guns, and $29,500 in cash. Corey Blount claimed that the marijuana was intended for personal use and to share with friends. However, the guns and cash did not help his case. The 6'9" player was sentenced to 1 year in prison after pleading guilty to 2 charges of felony possession. And although the judge did not sentence Blount to the maximum of 10 years in prison, he still fined him $10,000 and ordered him to surrender the vehicles and $34,000 in cash. I don't know what it is, but apparently the University of Cincinnati is known for producing basketball players who eventually become criminals. Back in 2001, after averaging more than 13 points per game and 5 rebounds for the Seattle Supersonics in the 1999 NBA season, 25-year-old Ruben Patterson effectively ended his career when he was convicted of third-degree rape. On September 25th, 2000, Patterson, a former shooting...
It's like every time, like, folks get in the NBA, they either smoke crack, like, rape a bitch, and, like, beat up somebody, like, I mean, get guns. Like, what is up? Nigga, y'all are making money to play basketball. Like, why is you doing the most dumbest stuff, bro? Alright, then do this nigga got a beard in his hand while on the court?
Oh, that ain't own stuff.
for the Sonics, Los Angeles Lakers, and other NBA teams, attempted to sexually assault his children's 24-year-old nanny by forcing her to perform sexual acts on him at his home. Although he didn't plead guilty to the rape incident, he did admit that there would be enough evidence for a jury to rule against him, and he was right. He was later on convicted to 1 year in prison, but the judge suspended 350 days, so he only served 15 days of it, along with receiving 2 years of probation. Patterson was also fined $1,000 and ordered to provide 80 hours of community service. Although it looked like he got off easy, this rape incident was just the first of many crimes for him. He would go on to continue committing even more crimes, including a misdemeanor assault charge for attacking a man who scratched his car, domestic abuse against his wife, and failing to register as a sex offender. The sad part about all of this was that it all happened just after he was finished.
This nigga crying and shit, nigga. You ain't no time to be crying now. Get some tissue, young nigga. Your big bald head, soft Tupac looking ass.
Signing a 5-year, $35 million deal for the following season. Although Daryl Adams' time in the NBA was fairly short, his prison sentence was not. Daryl Adams was a former UCLA basketball player who spent only 1 year in the NBA as a power forward for the 1980 Dallas Mavericks before being cut after just 22 games. However, he spent 9 years in jail after being convicted of stealing money and drinks from Domino's pizza delivery men on 8 different occasions back in 1987. But how does an individual go from being a professional basketball player being paid millions of dollars yearly to becoming a criminal who would go on a 2-month spree?
A pizza man. You stealing money from a pizza man, you a millionaire in the NBA, my nigga. It had to be the crack, bro. It gotta be the crack making them do. It gotta be the crack, bro. You smoking something, bro. You smoking that booger sugar, that tugger booger, that bombada, that something, my nigga. You smoking.
Of stealing slices from pizza delivery companies. After being cut by the Dallas Mavericks, the 6'9" player found himself playing overseas for a team in Switzerland. However, a knee injury would eventually end his basketball career altogether. Adams then decided to take a job in the mailroom of a Los Angeles appliance manufacturer where he earned $10 per hour. But the money just wasn't working out for him. Because of this, Daryl decided to give up and fell into a lifestyle where he became corrupted by drugs and crime. According to reports, Adams first...
What I tell y'all, had to be the crack.
Tried cocaine in 1976 and later on became addicted to it. Then he began experimenting with robberies. Adams and a friend started robbing Target stores to get cash. Finally, for whatever reason, he decided Domino's delivery men would be his next target. Adams would usually rob the delivery driver using a screwdriver or knife, steal the cash and drinks, and would make a run for it. He continued this robbery spree on 8 different occasions. After finally being arrested, the 30-year-old who already spent 21 months in jail was looking at another 13 years in prison. At his court hearing, Adams acted as his own attorney and told jurors that he was not a robber and was innocent of the crimes that he was being held for. In the end, however, the jury would find Adams guilty of 7 counts of armed robbery and 1 count of simple non-armed robbery and would be held on a $100,000 bail. Known as the Big O for his huge 6'9", 280-pound build, ex-NBA player Oliver Miller was a center for several NBA teams. Back in the 1992 NBA draft, Miller went 22nd overall to the Phoenix Suns after having a good college career at the University of Arkansas. In his rookie season with the Phoenix Suns, Oliver teamed up with Charles Barkley to help on defense and would eventually lead the team in blocks. Miller was never a scoring threat, but despite his almost 300-pound weight, he always hustled and made an impact playing 20 minutes a game in 56 games. Miller even reached the NBA Finals with the Suns in 1993 against the Chicago Bulls and averaged 7.2 points and 5.2 rebounds over the course of the postseason. He wasn't an all-star by any means, but in the early to mid mid-90s, his name carried weight around the league as much as the man himself. For a man his size, he could run the floor, but unfortunately, he couldn't run away from his crimes. Unlike many other NBA players on this list, Miller committed his crime after his NBA career ended. After the course of his career, Miller, who also played for the Minnesota Timberwolves, Detroit Pistons, and Toronto Raptors, pleaded guilty to first-degree assault and carrying a handgun after he was involved in a pistol-whipping incident at a family barbecue back in April of 2011. Miller and his girlfriend's brother, Jason Worley, were arguing at the barbecue when the incident took place. Witnesses claimed that they seen Miller repeatedly beating Worley in the head with a gun in the street outside of the home. Following the gruesome beating, Jason Worley needed 11 staples in his head to close up the wounds he received. 41-year-old Oliver Miller would later on be charged for multiple counts of first and second-degree assault, reckless endangerment, possessing a handgun, using a handgun in a violent crime, possessing a handgun in a vehicle, disorderly conduct, and other related charges. At first, a judge sentenced Miller to 5 years in prison, but luckily for Miller, he got off relatively lightly as 4 of the 5 years of his sentence were suspended. Following his release, Miller was put on probation for another 5 years. Exactly what took place there and what led Miller and his girlfriend to go to the house of her brother and hit him in the head with a handgun still remains unclear. According to Miller, he was doing it to protect his family. And although this isn't how Oliver Miller pictured life after basketball, it's still pretty shocking how he came from such a high point in his life to this. And that concludes the video. As always, if you enjoyed this video and would like to see more content, make sure to leave.
Man, it's like the NBA players that make good money. You get in the league and you can make good money and you can save your money. They be making the most dumbest stuff, man. I mean, you know, without talking about J.R. Smith with this, like, I'm talking about like NBA stars in general. Like some of them, they had to do crack, crime, rob somebody. Like, why is you robbing folks and you in the league? Like, what are you doing? I mean, J.R., man, it's ridiculous. But yeah, thank y'all for watching this video. Like, share, subscribe, comment, do all that. I'll see y'all later. It's Big Joey. I'm out this thing. And yeah.